Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
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 Lot of faces I recognize from the last round and a lot of new faces as well. Okay, let's start. So, you know why you are here? So we thought we'll discuss some Mahabharata stories. Okay, so we will start. I'll start 1 second. Okay. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwarah. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Sarva Lokaram Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Guru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Gajananam Bhutaganaadisevitam Kavittajambhupalasarabhakshitam Umasutam Shokavinashakaranam Namami Vigneshwarapada-pankajam Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashibhardam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvavighnopashantaye Vyasam Vasishtanaptaram Shakte Pautramakalmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Shukatatam Taponidhim Vyasaya Vishnurupaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanidhaye Vasistaya Namo Namaha. So there are a couple of new shlokas, but others we learned them during summer holidays. Right, last two I think are new, but we will cover them in the next few days. So we are going to start Mahabharata, some stories from Mahabharata. Before we start, there is a shloka. Mahabharata, this is called Mahabharata Dhyana Shloka. That means this is worshipping Mahabharata as a epic, as a itihasa in our scriptures. We are worshipping that Mahakavya, okay, that novel, that epic. The shloka is like this. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. Here it could be Devi Saraswatim Chaiva sometimes. Okay, let's keep it Chaiva. Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudhirayet. So it means, so we worshipping Narayana and Nara. Nara is son of Dharma, God Dharma. He is son of, and he is a rishi. Okay, Narayana and Nara, two rishis, the sages, rishis. They are Narayana's avatara. Okay, they are incarnations of Narayana himself. Worshipping them first, and then we worship Saraswati, who is the goddess of knowledge. Okay, and after that, Tato Jayam Udhirayet. That means after that, we start Jaya. Jaya is another name for Mahabharata. Okay, so we start reciting Mahabharata. So first we worship Narayana, Nara, and then Saraswati, and then some also add here instead of Devim Saraswati Chaiva, instead of Devim Saraswati Chaiva, some say Devim Saraswati Vyasa. Okay, Vyasa also, we worship Vyasa as well. So, but main shloka now, Vyasa written shloka is Devim Saraswati Chaiva. Okay, so that's the shloka. We will again come back to this shloka a little bit later. So starting now, before those who joined back in August, you probably remember this page, right? So these are our scriptures, Shastras, as we call it. What do we have here? We have two mainly. Where does this slide, I'm showing this to show you where Mahabharata is in our scriptures, right? We have mainly two parts. One is Shruti, another one is Smriti. Okay, Shruti is something that is heard by the sages, our rishis. Okay, they heard it, and the main content in Shrutis is Vedas. Okay, Vedas, there are 4 Vedas: Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvana Veda. And then, to recite Shrutis, one needs Upadesha from Guru, okay, and that one gets after Upanayana Samskara. And then on the other side, we have Smritis. Smriti is something that's memorized, okay, it is for everybody. Everybody can learn about these things. What do we have? There are a lot of things in Smritis. The 3 main things are Dharma Shastras, Puranas, and Itihasas. Dharma Shastras explains the guidelines, how to live, what to do, what not to do, what is good, what is bad in different circumstances in life, how to live, how to treat others, how to behave, everything. Okay, what to learn, when to eat, when to sleep, when to wake up, everything. Okay, Dharma Shastras teach all that. That's just a rule book, let's say. Okay, guidelines book. And then Puranas tells the same thing, whatever that's in the Vedas and Dharma Shastras. Puranas cover the same thing, but it tells in the form of stories. Okay, different stories. Okay, there are 18 Mahapuranas and 18 minor Puranas. So Mahapurana is main Puranas, minor is Upapurana. Okay, so there are 18 and 18, total 36, plus there are numerous other Puranas, but when we say Puranas, we mainly look at 36. Okay, 18 Mahapuranas, 18 Upapuranas. And after that, we have Itihasa. Itihasa means history. Okay, we have a history lesson as well here. So what does Itihasas cover? There are 2 main things, Ramayana and Mahabharata. Has everybody heard about Ramayana and Mahabharata? Yes. Okay, good. So now we are going to look at Mahabharata. Okay, in the next few days, we will look at some stories from Mahabharata. Definitely, we can't cover everything in Mahabharata. It will take probably 2-3 years to cover everything. Okay, if we cover every day. So we will do in the next few days just some stories. Okay, from Mahabharata, from the beginning of Mahabharata, we will what Mahabharata says. We look at that. In Mahabharata, we have a lot of things in it. Okay, I will explain what is the importance of Mahabharata, what it is about, and everything in today's class. Today's session, we will cover the basics of Mahabharata, what it contains, why it was written, and all those things. Okay, and tomorrow probably we will start some stories. Okay, real stories. So Mahabharata is, before we start, it's the first section of Mahabharata is called Parva Sangraha. That means it is the contents. Okay, what is in there? That's what it explains, beginning of Mahabharata. So how does Mahabharata start? Okay, the Mahabharata starts with a rishi called Ugrashrava Sauti. He's also called Suta Mahamuni. Okay, you probably will hear Suta Mahamuni's name everywhere in all the pujas and everything, because he's the narrator of all the stories. Okay, Suta Mahamuni, his full name is Ugrashrava Sauti. He's the son of Loma Harshana, another great rishi. He's son of rishi. He comes to Naimisha forest. Okay, in Naimisha forest, Shaunaka and others, rishis, they were doing many years of sacrifice, yajnas. Okay, Ugrashrava Sauti comes there, and then everybody worships him, and then he says, I heard about from Vaishampayana, I heard at Janameja, King Janameja's Sarpa Yajna, that means snake sacrifice, I heard Bharata. I heard Bharata. From there, I went to Samanta Panchaka. Okay, and then I thought about you, and that's why I came here. Okay, so you hear a lot of new names here today. Okay, what Suta Mahamuni says is, he heard Mahabharata, Bharata from Vaishampayana. He heard it from Vaishampayana. Where did he hear? He heard it at Janameja, King Janameja Sarpa Yajna. There was an event happening. What was the event? Sarpa Yajna. Okay, there was a snake sacrifice happening. Into the fire, they were putting all the snakes. Okay, we will hear about that story in the next few days. So I think that's what I'm going to cover. So the next few days, all the stories we are going to look at is going to lead into that snake sacrifice. Why that snake sacrifice happened, what happened in that. Okay, so Suta Mahamuni says he heard about that there, and then he comes back. On his way, he went to Samanta Panchaka, a place called Samanta Panchaka, which is a Tirtha Kshetra, pilgrimage. Okay, he finishes that pilgrimage, and then he comes to Naimisharanya, thinking about all these rishis. Suddenly, Shaunaka and other munis sitting there, they say, Mahabharata, we want to hear about this. That is composed by Vyasa himself. Vyasa is also called Krishna Dvaipayana. Okay, Krishna means dark. Dvaipayana is where he was born. Okay, he was born in an island. That's why it's called Dvaipayana, Krishna Dvaipayana. Okay, Vyasa is his title because he's the one who's divided the Vedas into 4 Vedas. That's why he was divided. He's called Vyasa. Okay, so Vyasa Dvaipayana, who composed it. So you are hearing now, Vyasa composed Mahabharata, Vaishampayana told it, right? And then Suta Mahamuni narrating it, whatever he heard from Vaishampayana, to Shaunaka and other rishis. Lot of names coming, right? Confusing? Okay, Vyasa composed it. From him, Vaishampayana narrated it at Janameja's Yajna, sacrifice, and then Suta Mahamuni heard it from them, and then Suta Mahamuni is now narrating it to Shaunaka. Okay, that's the background to Mahabharata. So how did Mahabharata came to this world? How did everyone hear about it? It heard from Vyasa, it came to Vaishampayana. Vaishampayana is Vyasa's student, his disciple, okay, of Vyasa. And then from Vaishampayana, Suta Mahamuni heard it, and Suta Mahamuni told all the other rishis. Okay, so when they ask him to narrate it, Suta Mahamuni worships Vishnu. Okay, he worships Vishnu because he says Vishnu is the creator of everything, entire universe, all this, whatever we see, whatever we don't see, everything is created from Vishnu. From Vishnu, Brahma was created. From him, 21 Prajapatis. Prajapatis are the creators. Okay, they are the creators. They were born from Brahma, and then many kings, rishis, everybody was born. From them, the Kurus, the two families of Kurus, Kuru family and Yadu families were born. Okay, that's how it came to existence. That's what Sutta Mahamuni says. Now, suddenly, Shaunaka and others ask Sutta Mahamuni, okay, they ask, why did Vyasa compose this? Tell us more about this. So now we hear about why Vyasa composed this. Vyasa, after dividing all the Vedas and writing everything, he comes to an idea that Vedas are limited to those who have Guru's Diksha or initiation. You remember Shrutis, I said only you need Guru's Upadesha to learn it. So Vyasa thinks, how does the other people are going to know about Vedas? We need to tell everybody how to live, what to do, and how to achieve good. Okay. So he thinks about that. He goes to Brahma and then he says, I want to write a Maha epic, a big, great epic. Okay. And that is going to have all the mystery about Veda. Whatever the Veda says, I want to have cover everything in it. It will have everything that's covered from Upanishads. Upanishad is the Vedas summary. Okay, it is the summary of the Vedas. And then all the Puranas, whatever said in the Puranas, I want to compile that. I want to tell about all the creations and survival and everything in it. Okay, I want to talk about 4 Varnas. That is 4 Varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay, so the 4 Varnas, 4 orders of life. I want to cover about that. And then he want to cover about how to live. Okay, whether it is in different stages of life, starting from Brahmacharya, that is early age, studying, and then getting married, and then finally older ages of your life, how to live that. He want to talk about everything that's in the nature, atmosphere, in the universe, everything. He want to talk about that. He want to talk about science. He want to talk about astrology. Okay, Nyaya, everything, treatment of diseases, dana, charity, everything he want to talk about it. Okay, everything, all that condensed into Mahabharata. Okay, so Vyasa says, I want someone to write it. I have a lot of ideas, but I want someone to write it. Okay, he asked Brahma's help. Can you help me find someone who can write it? Okay, and then Brahma says, go and ask Ganesha. He's very good at writing. His handwriting is very good. Go and ask him. Okay, so Vyasa goes to Ganesha and then he says, I'm thinking about all this. And then Brahma asked me to come to you because he says you are good at writing. Can you write this for me? I will narrate. Can you write it? And then Ganesha says, he gives a condition. He makes a condition. Okay, I'm going to write whatever you say, but you should never stop narrating. Okay, the moment you stop narrating, I will stop writing. After that, I will not start. So that means Vyasa has to continuously narrate it. Okay, Vyasa says, that's fine, but you have to, before you write something, you have to understand it. Okay, you can't simply write it, you have to understand it. Okay, so there are 2 conditions said. Ganesha says, you can't stop narrating, you have to continuously narrate. And then Vyasa says, you have to understand before you write. Okay, both agree and they make a deal. And then Vyasa starts narrating and then Ganesha starts writing. Okay, Mahabharata. So Sutta Mahamuni there explains what they wrote. Okay, there are 18 main parvas. We call it parvas, that is in sections. Okay, 18 main sections in Mahabharata. Okay, each section is divided into many subsections. Okay, and then there are, each subsection is then divided into multiple chapters, and each chapter has numerous shlokas in it. Okay, numerous verses of content. So briefly, when Shaunaka and everyone says, asks what this story is about, Suta Mahamuni explains it in about 5 lines, the entire Mahabharata. He says it's about the great Bhishma, the Kuru family, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Pandu, Kunti, Vidura, Pandavas and Kauravas fighting, and then Pandavas winning with Krishna's help. That's all. Okay, he narrates it. The key thing here is again is when someone asks, okay, those who know it, they don't tell everything. Okay, they just tell it a little bit. Okay, summary of it. If the other person asks another question, that shows that the person is interested. Okay, you tell only if the person is interested. So here also what Suta Mahamuni does is he tells everything, entire Mahabharata in about 2 seconds. Okay, there is 2 families, they were arguing, and then the fight happened, war happened, and then Pandavas win with Krishna's help. Then Shaunaka and others, they ask again more question. Tell us more about it. Tell us more about it. What is in it? Okay, how big was Mahabharata? So then Suta Mahamuni explains that originally this Bharata was written with 24,000 verses in it, shlokas. Okay, and then Vyasa expanded it further. Okay, it became 600,000 verses. Okay, so how much it is? It is about 6 million. Okay, 600,000 versus 6 million. Sorry, 100,000. So 6 million verses in it. Okay, out of that 3 million, he narrated it to all the deities, devas. Okay, he narrated it, and that was narrated by Narada. Vyasa told it to Narada, and Narada told the deities. And then 1500 was narrated to Pitrus. Pitrus are the ancestors who are dead. Okay, and that was told by Rishi Devala. 1400,000 was to Gandharvas by Vyasa's son Shuka. And then humans got 100,000 only. Okay, that was given. So we have 100,000 shlokas or verses of Mahabharata, which was told to us by Vaishampayana. Okay, we know only that much because the other rest of the Mahabharata is quite secret, which we don't know. Okay, that's why it's not told to us. This 100,000 verses explains the life on earth. Okay, what we should know, and that's what it explains. So then, what are those 18 chapters in Mahabharata? There is different names to each chapter. Okay, Adi Parva is the beginning. Okay, and then Sabha Parva is where Pandavas. I'm just going to briefly explain entire Mahabharata story here now. Adi Parva is when all the Pandavas are born. Okay, Pandavas, Kauravas, everybody is born. It's the beginning. And then Sabha Parva is when Pandavas create Indraprastha, their own kingdom, and then they lose in the game of dice, they lose everything to their cousins, Duryodhana, Kauravas, and then they go head into forest. Okay, and that's the third Parva, third chapter, which is Vana Parva. Vana is forest. They dwell in forest for next 13 years. And then there is a war happens, Virata war, and that's the Virata Parva. And then they prepare for the big war with their cousins. Okay, that is Udyoga Parva. And then Bhishma Parva comes in. Bhishma Parva is where Bhishma fights. Bhishma leads the war. Okay, and in this Bhishma Parva, there is Bhagavad Gita. Okay, and then Drona Parva comes where Drona leads. Similarly, Karna, Shalya, all these people lead. Okay, by Shalya Parva, end of Shalya Parva, Mahabharata war finishes. Okay, and then Sautika Parva is after post-war. It's a small chapter section. And then Stri Parva is where all the women of Kaurava and Pandava families, they are crying in that Stri Vilapa Garba. It's called Stri Vilapa Parva. That means they are crying sorrows because they lost all their husbands, children, everyone in that war. Then Shanti Parva and Anushasana. Normally, when someone tells Mahabharata, they tell little bit about Adi Parva, okay, because how Pandava Kauravas were born. They tell little bit about Sabha Parva, the dice game where they lose everything. They talk about little bit about Virata Parva, the war, Virata war, and then directly go into the war where Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Shalya, all these people lead the war. And then the Mahabharata finishes, narration finishes. But the beauty of the Mahabharata is there in the parvas which is not talked about. Okay, Vana Parva, for example, includes lot of information, lot of stories and lot of information. For example, pilgrimages, where all to go pilgrimages, what are the benefit, and lot of life lessons is there in Vana Parva. Similarly, Shanti Parva and Anushasana Parva, where Bhishma narrates lot of things, answers. It's a question and answer between Bhishma and Yudhishthira, Dharmaraja, Pandava. Okay, there lot of question and answer and lot of things about life is answered. And in Mahabharata, you can find anything and everything. Okay, if you want to know, for example, in Shanti Parva, beginning of Shanti Parva is talks a lot of management. Okay, in today's world, when you grow old, when you go to colleges, you probably will hear management studies. Okay, management studies, MBA and leadership and all these kind of things. Okay, all that is there in Shanti Parva, if you want to know. Okay, it is there. Shanti Parva talks about that. Shanti Parva talks about every, so Mahabharata covers everything that's there. Anushasana Parva, again, how to live life. Ashwamedha Parva is where Pandavas do a sacrifice, and then the final 4 chapters are small chapters. Ashrama Vasika is where Dhritarashtra and everybody go to forest. Mausala Parva is where Krishna and other Yadavas die. Mahaprasthanika and Swargarohana is where all of them leave the earth. They go to heaven. Okay, so that's the final chapters. So we will cover a little bit of Adi Parva in the next few days. Okay, we will not cover any of this because it's quite long. Before I go next, any questions at this time? Anyone? Yeah, Tanvi. Snigdha.
So you know when you said that Ganapati said that the person writing it can't stop writing.
Yeah.
Why did he say that?
Because otherwise this will go on forever, right? So Ganapati wanted to put a condition there so that it can finish in a time and it is structured well. Okay, Vyasa thinks about whatever he says. Okay, he's just not making up as we go along.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Dhriti.
How long did humans find out about the Mahabharata?
How long?
How long did humans know the Mahabharata?
It's since Suta Mahamuni said to Shaunaka and everybody, Janamejya's Yajna, Sarpa Yajna, snake sacrifice. That's when first time it was narrated to the world. So how long in terms of times, there are a lot of calculations. Many people have said it's about 5,000 plus years, people say. Okay. Ram and Vaishnavi.
You know, like the Munis and they speak in a language. What language do they speak?
Sanskrit, Sanskrit.
Okay.
Arnav?
Yes, so are all of the Parvas Bhagavad Gita as big as the Bhagavad Gita? Are they like that big or?
Bhagavad Gita is only 18 chapters in Bhishma Parva. Okay, it is only 18 chapters in Bhishma Parva. Okay. So again, Mahabharata is covers Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, everything. Okay, entire
Okay.
Mahabharata. And then Bhagavad Gita, again, the contents of Mahabharata is throughout, contents of Bhagavad Gita is throughout Mahabharata. If you read Vanaparva, okay, the same message is said in Vanaparva as well, or even Adiparva or Sabhaparva. Okay, the message is same, how to live properly, okay, without doing harm to anybody. Okay, that's the message. It's repeated throughout, and then Krishna again repeats the same thing to Arjuna in Bhishma Parva. Okay, that's called Bhagavad Gita. And then Krishna again repeats the same Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna again in Ashwamedha Parva. Repeats once again, because Arjuna comes and says, I forgot all this. Okay. So he repeats again, but it is not called Bhagavad Gita that time. It is narrated slightly differently. Okay. The same message is repeated everywhere. And if you look at, for example, Anushasana Parva, you have Vishnu Sahasranama there. Okay, Anushasana Parva also has Shiva Sahasranama. Okay, so so there are a lot of things. Rudra, Shiva, Surya Ashtotra is there in Adi Parva. Okay, there are Skanda, Subramanya, Muruga Ashtotra is there in Vana Parva. Okay, there are a lot of things. Okay, in Mahabharata.
Okay, thank you.
We might get cut off in about 5 minutes. If you are okay, just for today, please rejoin, okay, if it gets cut off. Anika?
Yeah, so you said that in, I think, the 12th and the 13th that Bhishma talked to Yudhishthir, but in the Mahabharata he died. So how can he talk to him again?
So Mahabharata, he did not die. Okay, in Bhishma Parva, what happened was Bhishma was Arjuna released a lot of arrows, and Bhishma got stuck with the arrows. Okay, Bhishma had a blessing from his father that he will die only when he wishes to die. Okay, Bhishma did not die. He was injured. He was lying in the battlefield injured. Okay, and then after entire war is finished, Yudhishthira, the Pandavas goes there, and then at that time he narrates everything.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. I don't know any other questions or?
No, sorry, I forgot to.
Okay, thanks. Okay, Namrata.
Yeah. Why did Krishna die?
Krishna, everybody, because even though he is Bhagavan, okay, everybody who comes to earth have to have an end. Okay, even Bhagavan has to live like a human being. He can't act like a Bhagavan. Okay, that's what Bhagavan Krishna says in Mahabharata as well. If he wanted, he could have ended the war in seconds. Okay, but he did not want to act because he wanted it to happen like it should happen. Okay, he did not want to interfere in the things. That's what it is. So Krishna also, when he's aged, he has to die. Okay, and there are other stories as well linked to it. There are some Gandhari cursing him and things like that, but we will come to that if we get to that stage.
Okay.
Harish?
What does Parva mean?
Parva means, let's say, section. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Neha?
Did all of this happen in India?
Yeah, but not just India. Okay, the Mahabharata talks about the geography. It goes from every direction in earth. Okay, in those days, whatever that's considered as earth. Okay, we talk about huge deserts that may be in Arabic region today. Okay, the seas, oceans, it talks about the mountains in various regions. Okay, and all the other things. It's centered in India, but all the other regions surrounding India. Okay, Sachit.
What state in India was the Mahabharata set in?
It's difficult to say, but some people have calculated this as about 5,000 plus years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
No problem. Okay, we got another 3 minutes probably before the Zoom session cuts off. I'll quickly run through. I think I explained the plot. The benefits. What is the benefit of Mahabharata? Here again, Suta Mahamuni says that anybody who listens to this, who reads this with faith, okay, believing in these things and doing all the right things, those people will be freed from all the sins. Okay, whatever that's they do sins, that's goes. So, and again, whoever reads this, any type of sin that's committed will go away. That's again, person who is reading is has to be doing it with devotion, okay, who is of good character, then their sins will go away. And again, Suta Mahamuni says, just like butter hidden in the curd, okay, and nectar in the mare, sea among the reptile waters and all these kind of things. He says Mahabharata is the sacred and the pure and best among all the Shastras we have. Okay, that's what he says. And then he also says that once deities, okay, they weighed in a scale all the Vedas on one side and Mahabharata on the other side, and they weighed Bharata on the other side, and Bharata was heavier. That means it got more content. Okay, that's what they said. Okay, that's why then they called it Mahabharata. It was initially Jaya with 24,000 verses. As I expanded it to 6 million verses, that's when it's called Bharata. And then when they weighed it on the scale against Vedas and everything else, they called it Mahabharata. Okay, that's what they said. So that's Mahabharata. Again, they say here, reading this, the last sentence, one quote I just wanted to say here is, anything you do, okay, as long as it is not harmless to others, it is okay. Okay, you can do tapa. Tapa means penance. Okay, you can do tapa. That's okay. You can do studies. Okay, but you can accumulate wealth. You can do anything you want. Okay, as long as it is harmless. Okay, only it starts to harm others, then only it becomes evil. Okay, so what we should, the quote I included here is because what we should always think is we should never harm others. Okay, whether it is animals or humans or anything, we should not harm. That's the summary. Okay, in the beginning introduction chapters, what Vyasa and Mahabharata everyone says is you should never harm anybody, anything. Okay, so that's the Mahabharata introduction. We probably will start with the other things tomorrow, nearly out of time as well. Okay, so I think I had a couple of questions to talk about. We will cover them tomorrow as well. Anything else for today, or we close? Good. We'll see you again all tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much. Hari Om. Gurubhyo Namah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
You're not with me.